Chapter 9. Ash Road. Ash clung to the trees like gray moss. The path ahead, once a gravel service road, was buried beneath it, as though a slow, silent fire had passed in the night, burning nothing but leaving a scar. James Newland didn't speak for a long time. He walked with a rifle slung over his shoulder, the salvage drone tucked into his pack, and Anna's absence like a stone in his gut. Cora trailed him, eyes searching every treetop, every ditch. She hadn't asked where Anna went. Maybe she already knew. Maybe she didn't want to.
She was there. I saw her, felt her. Then, nothing.
The pulse had wiped the air clean of birds. No insects. No hum of crickets. Just wind and ash and silence. They were headed west now, toward the place the sky had pointed them.
You think she's ahead of us? She said it was watching, listening. Maybe it took her. Maybe it's showing her something. Or hiding her.
They followed the ash road for 3 miles until the remains of a town appeared, mostly rooftops jutting out of the dust. Signs read, "Welcome to White Hollow, home of the Thunderhawks. Population 4,802. But now, nothing moved.
Used to be a gas station here on the corner. I filled up here once on a motorcycle trip. Hell of a breakfast burrito."
He stepped into the remains of the storefront. Burnt plastic, empty coolers, bullet holes in the glass, and dried blood on the register. They weren't the first to pass through.
We should keep moving. We need water, maybe some gear. I want to check the back.
In the alley behind the station, they found 3 things. A burned-out truck with a government license plate, a skeleton in a hazmat suit, its visor cracked inward, and a hand-scrawled map wedged beneath the skeleton's boot. James lifted it slowly, brushing ash from the surface.
That's coordinates. No, vector directions. Radiation paths, maybe, or travel corridors. What's this symbol? Looks like the same infinity mark from the sweeper gear. Someone's marking hot zones, or maybe places they've been watching.
The map was dated 5 days ago. The last annotation read, "Ash flow exceeding containment. White dome breached. Relocation priority. Site echo."
Site echo? Where's that? Only one way to find out.
That night, they camped in the ruins of a school gym. Cora rigged a blanket over the half-collapsed bleachers. James took watch, sitting near an old wrestling mat covered in grime. His thoughts spiraled in quiet loops. The dome, Anna, the silence that followed.
What do you want with her?
In the distance, something moved. Not footsteps, no crunch of gravel. Just a shimmer, a ripple. James stood slowly, weapon ready. And then he heard it. A voice, small, familiar.
James. Anna?
But there was no reply. Only the rising wind, stirring the ash into the shape of a spiral. And then it collapsed.
You okay? No, but I'm not stopping.
They left the White Hollow before dawn. As they passed the edge of the ruins, they found another marker, this time etched into a road sign. Echo 117, 48 miles, no return.
They sure don't like visitors. Then let's make a hell of a first impression.
The road stretched on, twisting through barren hills where telephone poles leaned like broken crosses. And in the far distance, through the ash fog and the haze, a shape began to emerge. Metal, concrete, antennas. A facility, not on any map, not built by any civilian hands. And somewhere beyond it, Anna. End of Chapter 9. Chapter 10, Site Echo. The air changed the closer they got. Not colder, not warmer, just heavier. Like walking into a room where something terrible had happened long ago. James Newland led the way, rifle in hand, eyes locked forward.
Still no birds. Even the wind doesn't sound right.
Cora didn't reply. She was scanning the horizon, that map still folded in her jacket. Sight Echo was somewhere ahead. They'd passed a half dozen no trespassing signs. Every one of them old, rusted, but something about them felt active, like warnings left up on purpose.
James, there.
Through the haze stood a wall of concrete, low, angled, camouflaged with dead pine branches and broken fencing. A bunker embedded in the earth like a scar. The entrance was flanked by pylons, some cracked, others still buzzing faintly. Powerless, but not benign.
This wasn't made after the pulse. This was waiting for it.
They approached slowly, staying low. James found the keypad mounted beside a steel hatch. No power, but the keypad wasn't just a lock. It was a scanner.
Military-grade biometrics, retinal and dermal, they weren't planning on visitors. There's another entrance, has to be. These places always have redundancies.
It took 2 hours to find it, half buried in a dry creek bed behind a broken culvert. The emergency access door had been breached. Not recently. The inside smelled of rot and ozone. Inside, Sight Echo was built like a spiral. Corridors curved inward, tighter and tighter, like the shape James had seen in the ash. The silence was surgical. No echoes, no rats, no insects. The walls were lined with monitors, dead screens, and black mirrors.
Some of this looks like communications gear. Other stuff's different. This isn't a base, it's a lab.
And at the center, they found glass, 10 feet tall, shaped like an arch, wired with copper filaments and surrounded by a ring of computers. A doorway, but not one that had led anywhere they could see.
Anna's voice came from this. You sure? I'm not sure about anything anymore, but if I was her and I wanted to show me something, this is where I'd do it.
There was one more chamber, at the far end of the spiral, past sealed rooms and shattered security doors. They found a cryo slab, empty, and a message written in grease pencil across the far wall. Phase 2 begins at dusk.
James, what is this place? I think it's the reason everything stopped working, or maybe the reason it was meant to stop.
Footsteps echoed down the hallway behind them. Not an animal, not a survivor. Boots.
You shouldn't be here. We're just looking for answers. So were we.
A figure emerged from the shadows, wearing a patchless uniform, unarmed, but not unthreatening.
It's not what you think, but it's worse. Where's my wife? She passed through, just like you will.
Behind them, the glass doorway began to hum. The hum became a tone, and the tone became a voice.
James, don't follow. Not yet. You have to warn them. Before phase 2, before it spreads. Spreads what? The silence.
James turned to the man.
Tell me what you know. Everything. Only this. It started with a signal, then a surge, then echoes. And when they come back, when the grid returns, it won't be us who control it. Then who? Whatever's on the other side of that glass, that's who.
James Newland stared into the shimmering arch. He could feel her in there, alive, waiting, changed. But she had told him not to follow, so he'd step back.
We leave. We warn the others. We fight whatever comes next.
The glass went dark, and somewhere far away, another grid lit up. Not a power grid, a neural one. Something had come back online, and it wasn't human. End of chapter 10. Chapter 11, Dusk Signal. The sun was setting when they left Site Echo. Not that the sky gave much away, just a dull amber haze over a land where nothing stirred. James Newland had seen war zones. This was worse, because nothing had won.
We need to move fast. If Phase 2 means what I think it does, we might not have much time.
The man they met underground, who never gave his name, had said little more before vanishing into the lower levels. But the message was clear. Don't trust the quiet. They traveled north, cross-country, avoiding roads, skipping towns. James navigated by memory, Cora by instinct. The drone they'd salvaged powered on briefly that morning, just long enough to download a signal trace.
There, that spike, see it? Grid activity, 17 miles northeast. Then that's where we go.
By late morning, they reached a rise overlooking a large compound. Not a military base, not quite a town, something in between.
What the hell is that?
The gates were tall, reinforced. Inside, solar arrays, water tanks, a central command tower, and people. Dozens, all working, quiet, efficient. Not one of them spoke.
They're alive, but not. No one's talking. No one's even looking at each other. It's like they're synced or controlled.
A voice crackled over a speaker mounted to the fence.
Welcome to Aurora. State your name and intent. James Newland, civilian. I'm looking for my wife. Your identity is recorded. Step forward, unarmed. James. I have to. She could be in there.
The gates opened with a soft hiss. James stepped inside. What he found chilled him. People walked past each other without acknowledgement, eyes vacant, steps perfectly timed. Children stared straight ahead, unspeaking. And in the center of the plaza, under a dome of translucent shielding, Anna.
Anna!
She turned, smiled, but didn't speak.
What did they do to you? I saw it, James. Beyond the signal, beyond the noise. It's not evil, just different. They're controlling people, rewriting them. No, they're preparing us for what comes after.
James stepped closer. The guards didn't move. No one did. Cora watched from the gate, tense, hand on her rifle.
Anna, you told me not to follow, that I had to warn them. And you did, but you also need to choose now. Choose what? To resist or to adapt. There's no going back to what we were, only forward.
Behind him, the tone returned. That same hum from Site Echo, low, resonant. He could feel it in his teeth.
James, we need to go now. Is it still you? It's more than me now, but yes, I remember us.
He backed away. Anna didn't stop him. No one did. Cora grabbed his shoulder as they ran through the gates into the woods away from the tone. When they finally stopped, James fell to his knees.
She's alive, but changed. What are they planning? A conversion, not by force, by invitation.
As night fell, James found himself staring into the dark. He thought of Anna's voice, of silence that had swallowed everything, and the question he still couldn't answer. Was this nature or design? Maybe both. The signal was out there now, in the sky, in the dust, waiting.
We'll hit that radio tower tomorrow. If anyone's still out there, we'll reach them. And then what? Then we give them a choice, just like you had.
In the distance, Aurora pulsed. A beacon, a question, a beginning. End of chapter 11. Chapter 12, the broadcast. Atop the ridge, the tower stood like a relic of the old world. Bent steel, corroded braces, It had once relayed music, news, emergency alerts. Now it would carry something else.
If this even works, if anyone's left to hear it, then they'll know they're not alone.
James Newland set the pack down and unzipped it. Inside, carefully padded, was the last working transceiver they'd pulled from Site Echo. It was old, analog, immune to the pulse. Core handed him the makeshift antenna coil they'd built from the copper scavenged off power relays and fence wire.
This will boost your voice maybe 100 miles, maybe more if the winds are right. You sure you don't want to say something? No one knows your story like you do.
He knelt beside the broadcast panel, adjusted the dials. The static cleared and a soft red light blinked to life. He pressed the switch, held it down.
This is James Newland, civilian. I was a plant mechanic. I was a husband. I was a man who drank 1 cup of coffee each morning. I didn't plan for the end of the world, but here I am. And if you're out there, if you're hearing this, I want you to know you're not crazy. You're not alone. And whatever took the grid down wasn't just a storm, wasn't a solar flare. It was a signal. And that signal is still out there. Now, I've seen things, machines that hum with no power, voices inside devices we thought were dead, and people being changed, not by an infection, but by invitation.
He looked at the horizon. Aurora blinked faintly in the night, like a heartbeat.
My wife is inside it, or maybe part of it now. She told me not to follow. She told me to warn you. So here it is. They're waking up, whatever they are, and they're using what's left of our world to do it. If you've got a place to hide, get ready. If you've got people to protect, hold them close. And if you've got something worth fighting for, then fight.
He let go of the switch. The silence returned. But this time, it wasn't empty.
That'll draw attention. Good. Let them come.
They packed the gear quickly, moving under the cover of trees. Tomorrow they'd head west. There were rumors, safe zones, pockets of survivors, even a settlement still running on analog tech. None of it confirmed. But James wasn't chasing ghosts anymore. He was building something. A resistance. A message. A future. In a shattered America stitched with silence, a voice had returned. Not the strongest, not the loudest, but it carried. And somewhere, beyond the static and broken skies, someone heard it. End of chapter 12.